Alright guys, we're going to be talking about Matthew chapter 10. Reason being is there was a live of these, there are three women who constantly attack the Bible without ever trying to understand the context of it all. Here we go. So I think they were arguing about how this passage right here, chapter 10, Matthew chapter 10 verse 21, and brothers shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents and cause them to be put to death. That disturbs them. But it's funny because it's like they're ignoring everything else. What is this addressing? What are they actually talking about? Is this a command? No. This is pretty much Jesus telling his disciples that they're going to be persecuted. But in their ministry, they're going to make people believe. And in that belief is going to cause strife. Why would that cause strife? Because if a Jewish person, especially if they're a brother or a child that believes in Jesus, because everyone in the Jewish family is so fanatic, they would put them to death. Or maybe you were born in a communist world and you believe in Jesus and it was outlawed, and your own brother's like a devout communist, and then he puts you to death for believing in Jesus. Or maybe you born in a Muslim home and believing in Jesus is a huge taboo and considered leaving the Muslim faith and therefore be put to death. So what is this passage talking about? It's saying, and the brother shall deliver up the brother to death. This is what he's saying what will happen in the future. Those who have come, who hate Jesus, will betray their own brother, their own blood and kin, and send them to the authorities, Big Brother or the Antichrist or whoever's the dictator that outlawed believing in Jesus Christ, to death. And they'll do that willingly because they disagree with them believing in Jesus Christ. So that's the reality. And the father, the child, yeah, there's gonna come a time where a father would do that. What kind of father would do that? You don't know this world, do you? You don't know human nature. There are some really bad fathers out there, and simply will give up their kid if they don't believe what they believe. And the children shall rise up against their parents. That's already happening. And cause them to be put to death. Have you seen the woke LGBTQ and the way like you have to say like your pronouns exactly, or we will cancel you? Now imagine if there was a law where you can't even speak against them, or you know, have an opinion on them, and then they put you to death. And then the children would just rat out on you. They'll call the police, they'll call the officials, they'll go on TikTok and say, look what my parents are doing. They're bigots. They need to be put to death. Okay? And this is what happens in the aftermath. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. So what is this talking about? This is what happens when you take up the name of Christ. People hate you. Even your own family will end up hating you, to the point of they'll be wanting you to die. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved. So this is about keeping the faith regardless if they hate you or not, and love them anyway. He's not saying you to be that person. He's saying this is what will occur in the future. You haven't seen this time yet. He's talking about a time of the Great Tribulation, or when the son of perdition rises to power. Heck, even in their time that was happening, because the Roman government itself, especially with Nero, was a kind of antichrist who outlawed Christianity. So, ladies, I don't know if you ever came across my videos, but stop attacking the Bible in your bitterness and not trying to understand the actual message here, the meaning. Just because you read something that is offended, deaths, children rising up against their parents and causing them to put to death, that's evil. Or the father and the child, that's disgusting. Like immediately, you're just having emotional reactions instead of understanding the context. What are they addressing? The disciples are about to go out, speak the gospels to all nations with different beliefs, different creeds, different laws, different kinds of people that will get upset and offended once they start seeing people convert to Christianity or come to Christ because of all the miracles they've been performing. In their hate, this is where they will lead to. Look at Saul. He had hate in his heart for the Christians, and what was he doing? Sentencing them to death. Who knows that any one of those people he was sentencing to death was his cousins, his brothers, nephews, nieces? You don't know. You really don't know. Because they were Israelites too. This is what he means. His name causes controversy in this world because the world is run by selfishness and Satan and our own desire to do what we want to do. People in this world hate Jesus. Therefore, because of the hate, that is what it will lead to. Even though they're the ones loving them, they will hate him for following Jesus. Because a lot of people have these entities and unclean spirits around them that control them, that inspire them to live like children of Satan. So, stop being offended. It's time to grow up. It's time to use logic. And it's time to understand. We are meant to be persecuted. And your little videos and lives on TikToks about attacking Christianity, that's you. You're the persecutors. You're the ones who are going to rat us out someday so we can be put to death. All because the gospel makes you uncomfortable. Because it calls you out. Time to be humble. God bless.